The first item is the mirror that hung in a gender clinic, and this first item struck me because of the beautiful message that was written above it according to the bio. It said, "Over the years, a lot of trans folk have looked into this mirror, which has been witness to incredible transformations." I liked standing and staring into it the same as was said many trans folk had done, and trying to see myself as clearly as they had. I felt that incorporating both the visual and written modes sent a much stronger message, and I think that it was so simply put and so well, and it was interpreted by the viewer. I felt that through the visual mode, I had learned so much just from knowing where it had belonged and what it had meant, and the multimodality in general just set the stage for what the mirror stood for in the trans community. The mirror had seen the struggle of what so many had felt with gender dysphoria, and it has seen so many changes that good people have gone through to feel right in their own skin. And apart from the other ones in the exhibit, this piece sort of imbued me in the story that the exhibit intended to tell, of the lasting pain that trans people have felt and fought against to this day, and how several incredible people have fought to change the stigma surrounding trans people and protect trans rights. The second piece I was looking at was the Butch Heroes Pictures series, and I really loved the historical relevance in this piece. How the artist depicted several stories of trans people from hundreds of years past to the present in the form of a Catholic holy card, which I thought was sort of an ironic move, as so often in history it was the church that condemned trans people and claimed that a trans person was laughing in the face of God or defying God's work or shaming God, etc. And that the church had historically punished them or put them to death. The two particular portraits on display are Jean Bonnet and Sitting in the Water Grizzly. I noticed how well this artist and other artists in the exhibit actually referred to the trans person in question in their preferred pronoun. And I looked through most of the stories on the iPad in the artist series and discovered just like incredible people from generations past that I didn't realize that so many people from so many different cultures have experienced this. Just because it's such a modernly relevant subject, so many people had done what they needed to be who they wanted to be and stood their ground with no question. Women that wouldn't step out another day in dresses, men that were shunned for their wish to wear dresses, so many people in so many different ethnicities. It stuck out to me because it really depicted the history, how common the situation arose historically and presently. It shows how little times have changed as people experiencing gender dysphoria and taking the appropriate steps to feel better about themselves are still shunned and were historically shunned because of something others couldn't understand or just feared. The multimodality in this piece was visual and written modes, and I think it really pieced together the stories and messages for each and every butch hero than just a portrait or just an essay. The last piece I was looking at was the Billy Tipton record player and record. This piece struck me because, honestly, I walked in and I looked at it, and just because I'm a musician and a huge music fan, I saw the record player and I saw the word hi-fi in big letters, and I was just kind of drawn in immediately just because of that. But as I listened to the record and I looked at the piece and read the bio and everything, I just really appreciated it because, well, this particular piece utilized the aural mode, which usually appeals to me a little more. It was utilized by playing Tipton's famous record, in which he plays hi-fi on the piano. The bio first introduced Tipton as a popular, well-liked musician with a wife he loved, with whom he adopted 3 children, and then describes how the media reacted later in his life when the news broke out that Tipton was born female but lived as a male throughout his life. And it apparently came as a shock to family and friends and fans of his music alike. This described a situation in which a respected figure was able to live a normal, happy life in the gender identity he preferred, and was only subjected to judgment once the media heard the news and took a hold of it, and it was a negative reaction. His music was well liked, and he was successful in his life and career because he was able to be who he wanted to be and was able to be comfortable in his own skin, and had been pulled down by the world's poor stigma and ideas surrounding the trans movement. Had he been pulled down by it, it's likely he wouldn't have made it so far. The multimodality was in playing his music and having the record cover and bio displayed, and I felt like it set a better picture of the life he lived and how the ideas surrounding trans lives changed his image from a talented musician and family man to a trans person forever labeled by the media.